point forward, we've just been slipping back, slipping back.
Tremendously. So if you're listening to us right now, you're listening to smithradio.com live Sunday evening, 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern. That's Smith, SMYTH radio.com. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/smithradio and Twitter at smithradio. If you want to be a part of the show, call in 513-888-1538. We're just going over the cancer that is the Democrat Party. They literally, from day one, have been opposed to Americans having individual freedoms and individual rights. They relentlessly held on to slaves during the South during slavery days. They wanted to keep it going. They wanted to thrive it. It was literally their fault that there was a civil war. It was their fault that 2.38% of our population was dead, which in today's numbers is 7 million bodies, which doesn't even compute. And it is now their ideology that all the power, and right after the Civil War, they said, oh, well, we'll cure this one. The power needs to go to the federal government. So from 1865 all the way up to till now, the 150 years that's been their goal, their number one goal, is to divert all the power from the states to the federal government, which is hugely bloated, overinflated. Paul Ryan given a $4 trillion budget to Obama for nine months, which put us immediately $2 trillion in debt automatically.
Oh,
that $4 trillion budget put us $2 trillion in debt, $2 trillion more in debt. And we're coming to the end of the show. And we talked earlier about that hit piece that the New York Times did on Donald Trump trying to trump up a story that he is somehow some kind of serial rape, some kind of a womanizer, serial womanizer of some sorts. And come to find out, all the women came out that were named in this piece and said, hey!
Completely debunked. New York Times comes out with an article that several days later has been completely debunked. I mean, that's got to be really rare for the New York Times.
Well, no, they hired that one guy who said, yeah, my bad. All the stories I've been writing, I just made them up.
Oh, that's right. So it wasn't just
I was working for y'all for like 5 years. Every article, every story was all made up.
Oh, I don't know why I gave the New York Times so much credit. Wow.
Well, maybe you forgot about that. I mean, they tried to put that under the rug so fast.
Well, why would they?
Right. And all the rest of the media outlets followed suit because the New York Slimes is supposed to be the starting point, the mouthpiece for all media.
I learned that from Rush.
Right.
Rush points out that as soon as they say they are the source of all the media from all the outlets and all the networks across the United States, they all get the New York Times, and they figure out what they're going to report about on that day based on what they read in the New York Times.
Right.
So they are like the original source.
And there's a woman who has her own radio show. Her name's Tammy Bruce. She's on Facebook. You ought to follow her. She always puts out some great articles. She's really on point with a lot of the things that she's thinking, a lot of things that she says. And she came out, and this is what she had to say about the article and Trump and women.
Every man is like Bill Clinton. Donald Trump is also not. This is a gift. It shows, in fact, this is the argument that, Donald Trump, he's a misogynist, he's a womanizer. He's a man who likes women, that's clear. Sometimes he's a forward, that's clear as well. Yes, and now we know that he's been, one of these women says that she was misquoted. But the New York Times is no one's friend. They're certainly not any Republican's friend. And I think, though, this is beneficial, that we've learned, in fact, what Mr. Trump is made of. You know, some of you might not want to date him or would not want him to be, related to you. That's personal. But what we're finding, in fact, is that he's a complicated guy. He's not who the liberals want him to be. I'm sure the New York Times, when they used the word unnerved, that women were unnerved by him, they probably took 10 days to try to figure out what word to use because he wasn't what they expected. I think that's good for him. It's certainly good for the voter. And congratulations to Mr. Trump.
Congratulations?
Yes, congratulations to Mr. Trump.
Oh, that's hilarious.
She is the Laura Ingraham of talk show, her own talk show, radio show. She is part and parcel. I mean, along those lines of Ann Coulter, Laura Ingraham, that kind of thing. Just a really solid
think that
conservative.
women. What do you think? You think this? So you got this man, Donald Trump, who is
complicated.
He's good with the women.
He's complicated.
He's able to bag some hotties.
That is an absolute fact.
Right. And so
Hugh Hefner, step aside.
I'm telling you. And looks are very important to him, but you know what? I think that's actually common in men.
Men like to look at appealing things. Yes. It's in our DNA.
Right.
It is hardwired in our DNA to find a woman that would compliment and have beautiful children. It's in there.
So then, but you also have this grassroots movement of women who are just like, we want Donald Trump. So I'm thinking that they're looking at this and they're like, this is a real person.
Right.
This guy's got red blood flowing through his veins.
Right. He's a meat-eating... Well, he does eat a pizza with a knife and a fork. But
yeah, that is true. That is true. But we're
all not perfect.
Right. I think today, if he were to go into a... what's a place that would have, like, fried chicken or something like that?
KFC?
KFC's kind of
Church's
hokey.
Chicken? Ron's Roost.
Okay, well,
or even out on the West Coast, Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles.
Okay,
that is a huge hit out west.
So if he were to be caught by the cameras and he would know that the cameras are on him at this point.
Right.
I think if he were today to be caught in a Roscoe's Chicken, I think he would grab a chicken leg with his fist, jam that thing in his mouth, and tear the meat off with some authority.
Like a man.
Like a man. I blanked my wife.
Whoa.
I think I could see, and you know what? I think that would be the thing that people would be like, man, I wasn't sure about voting for him before, but now I'm totally down.
Right.
That just seems like what's working now. They're done with this fake stuff. Although it didn't work. Remember Kasich shoving that stuff in his mouth while he's talking?
You don't eat. You do not eat in front of a camera. You do not eat food
if you're
in front
Kasich,
of a
no, because he looks a little bit like Droopy Dog.
Right.
A little bit. He's got the cheeks sagging and everything.
So check this out. This is if Donald Trump was getting married, this is the guy that would be given the prayer at his wedding.
For invocation delivered tonight by Joe Now, pastor of Family Baptist Church in Lebanon, Tennessee.
Heavenly Father, we thank you tonight for all your blessings. You said in all things give thanks. So we want to thank you tonight for these mighty machines that you brought before us. Thank you for the Dodges and the Toyotas. Thank you for the Fords. And most of all, we thank you for Roush and Yates partnering to give us the power that we see before us tonight. Thank you for GM Performance Technology and the RO7 engines. Thank you for Sunoco Racing Fuel and Goodyear tires that bring performance and power to the track. Lord, I want to thank you for my smoking hot wife tonight, Lisa, and my two children, Eli and Emma, or as we like to call them, the Lilies. Lord, I pray you bless the drivers and use them tonight. May they put on a performance worthy of this great track. In Jesus' name, boogity, 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 amen.
You're going to have to explain to me what boogity, boogity, boogity is.
That was a pastor that was giving a prayer at a NASCAR race.
Right. A long
And-
time ago. It was several years
Yeah,
ago.
several
But it
years
made
ago.
headlines because,
Oh, boy.
oh, Lord, I want to thank you for my smoking hot wife.
My 2 children, Enos and Enos, we call them the 2 E's. In Jesus' name, boogity, 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 amen.
What is boogity, boogity, boogity?
They say that that's his style
Okay, the
of
boogity.
prayer.
So it's his signature. I'm gonna sign it with boogity, boogity, boogity.
Amen. They say that he gets so fired up in it. All American, red-blooded American
So yeah.
pastor.
Well, the thing about Trump though is he has a lot of, he likes class. So I'm not sure if he would.
Probably not.
Yeah, that is one thing about Trump, and that's why he didn't fold that pizza in half and shove it in his mouth. He used a knife and a fork.
Yeah, if you're going to be on camera, you can't eat at all. You can't.
I think there was Rush that said that too. He said,
Yeah.
"Do not if you're a politician, you got
No
this-
politician ever eat. You
let,
might
let them serve all the food in front of you,
Right.
maybe pound a beer, but I'm telling you right now, you leave that food right in front of you."
You know that beer summit. He didn't eat a hot dog there. He just had a beer. Obama.
Yeah,
With the beer
it's like
summit.
a little tiny table. Remember that?
Yeah, it was creepy.
Yeah,
so uncomfortable.
You know what it was? Hey, where are we going to put our beers? Oh, somebody find something to put our.
Oh, I got this little thing.
Somebody find something. They were going to get a big table, and they're like, but we only have our car. We'll get a smaller table. They had to throw it in the trunk.
So they're like, oh, hey, I got this thing I usually sit my plant on.
There you go.
I'm gonna
That's
stick
what
it
it
in
looks
here.
like.
Yeah.
It looks like something you put one plant on.
Somebody
Anyway.
also had a. Did you know Donald Trump does not drink and he does not smoke, and neither does any of his kids. And I bring that up because Obama smokes.
Okay.
And there is all kinds of pictures of Hillary drinking.
Okay.
And they say in the back scenes, they say she's an absolute lush.
I've heard that before.
And that
Do we want a lush with their finger on the red button?
Well, and the reason why I bring that up is because smoking and drinking both, there's reasons why people do that. Trying to cover something up, trying to do something, trying to compensate for something. There's just a lot of psychological aspects to that. And if you want somebody to straighten this mess out, we need the least amount of flaws in
Right.
that sense.
Well, I mean, Hillary Clinton isn't going to straighten anything out because, according to the liberal doctrine, I mean, we're right on course.
When she's absolutely 100% against the Second Amendment, she said that the Supreme Court justices got it wrong, and that
Which ones?
and that we need to get in there and make it right again.
By completely ignoring the text of the Constitution.
Right. That's exactly what she said.
And this is what the Never Trumpers are going to get. Period. And it's going to be on them if that's what we end up getting.
Yeah, I mean, especially if it's, it's just awful. What we're staring down the barrel. We're staring down the barrel of a loaded weapon, and the person holding it is Hillary. She's holding a gun right at America, telling us we can't have guns. There's something wrong with that.
I'm trying to think of an analogy that
I can't
would-
either. I just, she's crazy. I tell you, she's crazy.
Did you hear about Bill Mitchell's analogy for the favorability ratings?
No.
I'll give you the quick.
Oh, because Obama is topping
Well, his
Hillary.
video was like
Yeah.
5 minutes.
Okay.
But the unfavorable, he said his analogy was, imagine you're at the zoo and you're outside the cage of a tiger and you're like, wow, this thing's really beautiful. And you're there with your whole family. Well, the unfavorable would be like if you're in the cage and now you're no longer marveling at the beauty of this creature. You're trying to figure out how to survive. You don't like that thing. It's going to kill you. It's unfavorable.
Oh,
So Trump has unfavorable ratings with the Cruz crew while Cruz is still in it, right?
right.
When he's out, then the unfavorability goes away because now he's no longer a threat.
Right.
So it's a great analogy
that
by
makes
Bill
complete
Mitchell.
sense.
So Bill Mitchell is at Mitchell VII on Twitter.
Were you there? You hook up on Smith Radio, at Smith Radio.
Yep. SmithRadio.com.
Fastest 3 hours you'll spend in your entire life.
Can't believe it's over.
Be loaded and ready to go.
We're all over the place for you.
With unfathomable power.
What kind of power?
Unfathomable. It's without fathom.